stream, and then once the live stream goes, we can get started. What time is it? 5:32. We got another minute, so a minute. Hi, Peter. We didn't get a chance to connect. And then once the live stream goes, up there's the live stream. But I'm going to end up throwing to you anyway, so I hope you're a good punter. It's just a discussion. No worries. Just let's see. So that's going. And let me throw this in the Zoom. All right, Zoomland has our link. Group. X out of this. Okay, welcome everybody. I suppose we can get started. Thank you very much. My name is V. Paul, although it does actually say HSEC 4101. I'm just at work, so I'm using one of our classrooms because it has better technology, and that gives my son the ability to make as much noise as he wants at home. And let's go ahead and just do our welcome, and I'm going to throw to Val because she's right next to me on my grid here. Welcome, Val.
Hi, everybody. I'm Val. My kids are Ren and Everett Caldwell, 3rd and kindergarten. I don't see people on my screen, so I'll just throw to Carissa. I see her name on there.
Hi, all. Hi, V. I actually work at the U too, and you're in that nice new HSEC building.
Yes, I am. Yeah, where are you on campus?
I work at Walter Library, but I often work with the Health Science Library too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, next time you're over here, come say hi.
Okay, sounds good. I'm Carissa, and this is my daughter Tilda, and she's in High Five, Miss Allie's class.
And I'll throw for you, Carissa. I'm going to throw to Brianna because she's right next to you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brianna Nichols. I'm the assistant principal at Bancroft. Thanks for being here. My bad, sorry. I will throw to Mandy. Maybe. Sorry, now her screen's off. How about Rachel?
Oh, your mic's not picking you up, Rachel. Yep, for sure. No, you might have to go into devices and select mic. You may have chosen a mic that's defunct. Or you could chat. She's chatting, I think, because I could see the reflection in her glasses. This is why I love virtual meetings when cameras are on, because I could read body language, I could see environments. We talk about this on campus here a lot about hybrid teaching and how students, some will turn their cameras off, and it's a challenge for instructors. But I'm like, cameras on. And the chat says 2 kids, 1st and 3rd grade. Thank you. I'm going to throw for you to Miss Sue. She's next to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Sue. I'm the Sue Francis. I'm the IB coordinator. It's good to see everyone. Thanks for being here.
And then I'll throw to Melissa for you, Sue.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I have a son in 1st grade.
Silas says hi, by the way. We watched the bingo video the other day. Diego, I'm throwing to you.
Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. My name is Diego DePaz. I'm the principal here at Bancroft. And thank you all for joining us this evening. I will go to Justin since he is right dead center on my screen at the moment.
There we go, bullseye.
Hello, everyone. I'm Justin Karen. I am the PTO treasurer, and I have a 3rd grader in Mrs. Nelson's class. And let's see, have Sue, did you go yet? Okay, you went. Peter, how about you?
Hey, I'm Peter Thompson. I have two third graders, Liesel in Miss Kennard's class and Opal in Miss Nelson's class. And Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I do communications for PTO, and I have a first grader, Mira, in Ms. Lewis's class. And I'm just gonna think. Let's see who else. Val, has anybody thrown to you yet?
I did, yeah. I
Okay,
think
all
it's
right.
Mandy when she jumps back on. We'll pause the meeting. Everything. We'll stop everything we're doing. We'll have her do an intro.
Okay, I knew there was one person. All right.
Here, I think she's loaded on right now here. But hi, Mandy. Are you doing
Hi,
all right
Mandy.
tech wise? Can you hear us? Can you see us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay, I'm back. My computer died.
Oh, hey, it's a full house over there. All right. Oh, and so yeah, Silas isn't here. He's at home. I don't know where it's been, but anyway, all right. So let's just move right along. Board updates. Justin, I don't see Robin here. I don't think Robin has any updates from a vice president standpoint. No activity in terms of teacher requests, in addition to stuff that we voted on and funded last month. I believe Robin and Nicole are moving forward with Once Upon a Child visits for change of clothes to the clinic. That's the update I have from her regarding that. Any questions about that at all? Seeing none. Justin, I'm going to throw to you. I do have your sheet linked here, so I'm going to bring that up.
Sounds good. There isn't really a whole bunch to report. I guess there's two main things. So we got the totals in for Spiritware, and we had total for all that. And I think a lot of people are still waiting to get a lot of that. Some of the stuff was backed up for because of COVID and certain family issues that were going on. So some people haven't received their items yet, but in terms of sales and receipts, we ended up with a $76 debit, near as I can tell. And then we have one other thing. Oh, the other thing was that we voted last month on separating the lodge funds from the general PTO fund, and I haven't gotten to that yet. But Sue Francis reached out to me over break by email, and we just have to coordinate a time where we can get together and discuss what goes where, and then I'll head to the bank and get that taken care of. So that's about it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Justin and Sue, for looking into that. I imagine based off of our activity 19 to 20 and 20 through 21 financially, we did, as a PTO, for those of you that were on last year's and the year before, we did have some expenditures, some heavy expenditures when we were trying to maintain community, the t-shirt expenditures, for example. We did some headset stuff. I think the intermingling of funds certainly gave us the sense that we had more than what we did. So I am at this point just speculating, but the silver lining I'm halfway anticipating is that because of how ginormously generous our community was over readathon, PTO does have, moving forward for sure, a good little stack to draw from, and it's just a matter of determining how much did we either accidentally draw from on the Masonic funds or not, particularly if we had been burning through Masonic funds prior to pandemic and then went into a year and a half of some extra heavy expenditures. So I'm sure we'll figure that out. I just sort of wanted to I have the sense that we are in a good place, and really this is just all administrative in terms of an exercise and not something to be worried about. Is that a fair statement, Sue and Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, most years, I think, as Sue recalled from the past meeting as well, is that typically the lodge money gets spent most years, entirely spent for, mostly student I'm sorry, I'm drawing a
Let me
blank
help you
here.
out,
Mostly,
Justin.
it
It's like,
mostly gets used for field trips.
yes,
Sorry.
yes, or guest speakers or residencies, or we kind of have a menu of things we do in each grade level. So I think we can easily sort this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to add too, for clarity's sake, that a lot of the money also goes towards busing expenses, because the busing usually costs more than the entrance fees themselves, and so that's kind of where a lot of that money goes to. And so that's the other piece to that, is that it's not just for the field trip; it's also to pay for all the students to be on the bus.
Right. Yeah, no, I think the point I was just raising, and I think this, I'll be honest, maybe this really comes more from my own naivete about this, but seeing that we had totals over the past couple of years and then drawing from those totals for PTO expenditures, I can certainly attest to the notion that we thought we were in a better place, and maybe we were, because it turns out we might have accidentally drawn out of the Masonic funds. That's the thing that we're going to assure ourselves that we didn't do. And I think that's really what this due diligence is going to do for us, help us really figure out what did we spend from where, and where does that leave us moving forward. But again, I do want to say readathon left us in a good place, and so I think we've got cushion if we are a little in debt to our Masonic fund.
Yeah, that's correct. You're correct, Paul. We're not. There's no shortage of funds or anything like that. We're totally fine. It's just a matter of, it's basically an accounting error that we want to make sure we get right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my one just follow-up question, it's just a minor note. At last month, we were plus 200 out of spiritware, but this month we're negative 76. Do we know where that sort of left turn came from?
No, not really. I'm basically just using totals from the money that we received, and I don't know where the discrepancy is, I guess I should say. So I'm just counting up what bank deposits were and comparing those against what we spent or what we were charged by Custom Ink, who did the all the printing for us on the items. So it could be somebody placed an order, but their payment wasn't received in some way, like they didn't write a check, or I think all the funds that we did deposit were actually accounted for. So there wasn't any bounce checks or anything like that, but sometimes just people order stuff and something gets lost along the way somehow. And it ended up that there was a $76 debit. So the $200 variance just means I put in $50 thinking we'd make a little bit of money, because I don't think we typically do. I think it usually does either happen to break even or I think in the past we've taken a little bit of a hit too, but it's always a minor amount.
Okay.
But having not talked to Nicole about it, I couldn't tell you for sure, and she probably doesn't know either.
Okay, that's fine. And so that takes us into literally spiritware update. I think items have shown up at the office for pickup, and the process at this point is, if you got your stuff, it's because you weren't among the back ordered list. People can visit the office to pick up items that were delivered. Is that a fair statement? I haven't been to campus this week since you opened. So Diego or Brianna, can you attest to that?
I will say that I have not seen the spiritware at school.
Okay.
So, and I'm also waiting on my spiritware. So I have not seen it at school.
Okay.
I actually think, sir, just to chime in here, I actually think the spiritware is all going to Nicole's. I reached out to her last week because there was a question on social media about when orders were coming in.
Yeah.
She had everything shipped to her because otherwise stuff would have shown up at their initial proposed delivery at school during break. And since there probably wouldn't have been anybody around to receive that, she didn't want everything to be left outside. So she just had everything shipped to her. And then there was I believe, issues with COVID too. So I think juggling all that over break has just kind of set them back a little bit. So I think she's planning to get things out as soon as possible. But I would reach out to her for some more detailed information. Last time I talked to her was this, I think either Friday or Saturday. And she said that, yeah, things would be there on Monday. So maybe just checking in to make sure everything's okay and see if she needs any help. And I know she still needs volunteers maybe to sort things out too. So.
Well, yeah, and so let's, I think, okay, I'll reach out, and I think we just need to have some clearer messaging, because there are emails coming in, and as you alluded to, Justin, there's some Facebook, so there's some social media questioning. And for the folks that, had it shipped directly to their house, they're already wearing their stuff, the lucky bulldogs. So we'll come up with some clarity around it. That's all I have from Spiritware since Nicole's not here. Justin has had more conversation with her. Are there any other questions apart from waiting for your items for those on the meeting that?
I know Nicole had said that we'd ordered, there was some extra stuff that was ordered. Is it possible for people who could not order Spiritware at the time to purchase those extra things that were ordered?
Yeah, that is possible. We don't have necessarily a great process for that, apart from saying coordinating. Let's be at the school. We'll hand it to you, hand us a check, or drop a check at the school office type thing in the PTO box. So that was going to be something we were going to have a more explicit process once we knew how much extra stuff we had, and I don't know how much extra stuff we had. But definitely, I mean, there are toques, what do you call them? Winter hats to be purchased, because we have a bunch. Any other questions? Okay, this moves right into what I've titled an open discussion pacing our activity calendar. So I sort of alluded to this last month. We have a school year, and we have some anchor events in the fall and a couple of anchor events in the spring. And fall is very busy. First of all, very is such a poor adjective. And second of all, it's busy. And we were out the gates running month to month. Some months we have a couple of things going on. And then we loosen up in the spring. In addition to that, we tend to be fundraiser heavy in the fall and not as fundraiser heavy in the spring, except for the big plant sale, which we're going to segue to after this discussion. So I had said last month, it would be good for us as a PTO to sort of just think about, do we want to respace our events so that future PTOs are not faced with the same dilemma? And also there is the option of some of these projects being reassigned or being picked up by others, new people taking on the projects. As you may have noticed for this particular year and last year, for the last 2 years, we've sort of gone with a model that board officers, board members are on call throughout the year, but then there are project chairs or project managers, and they're really only responsible for the project to which they've been assigned or that they volunteered for. And that's sort of been the structure of volunteering here with PTO. And so we could, in a perfect example, Nicole has readathon and book sale followed up by Spiritware. She's communicated that that's a little tight for her. And if we moved Spiritware as a fundraiser to after the holidays, that's one thing. Or maybe that would be a responsibility. She would no longer be the project chair for Spiritware. Somebody else would pick that up. So that's where some of this discussion is coming from. And then to sort of give a final context before I open the floor, in May at our final PTO, we will elect a president, vice president, communications chair, and then also select the project chairs for readathon and whatever happens right away in September. I know, Justin, whether or not there's a fall mums sale is certainly a discussion point. It's not 100% on the table, but that might be something that somebody else picks up. And so we don't have to necessarily have people right away today saying, I want this thing, let me have it, let me run with it. But I do want to put that out there, and I'm also putting this out there for the folks that watch the recordings after the fact. We would love parents that volunteer, and if you want to volunteer because you have an open 3 weeks in the middle of March, and that makes it perfect for you to take on an April project, great, and we'll take your time. And then if you happen to want to devote the whole year to little bits, doing something all throughout the year, that also works. So having said that, that's my little piece. Does anyone have any comments, questions about how we space our calendar out? Any suggestions about projects that we might be taking on this spring? And I know, Peter, I'm actually looking at you because we have the land acknowledgement discussion, and Brianna, I know there's a group from among staff that's still meeting. So that's a new project for us. But anyway, comments, questions? Hi, Kate. Mandy, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you hear me? I'm not sure. Oh, it was a bad time to put her on the spot. I'll put somebody else on the spot. We do have, okay, Mandy, I'm putting you on the spot because we were talking the other day that you've got a little more time to give to PTO. Do you have anything you want to share? You were PTO president last year. You were involved in PTO before I even got here, I think, because so you tell me what are your thoughts?
Are you talking about like what we should move around?
Well, or whether we should. I mean, I'm just looking for an open discussion about it. Maybe maybe we shouldn't. Maybe that's why there's silence. Maybe the calendar as it is fine, and we just need to redistribute the responsibilities a little better. That could certainly be the tack. I like the fact that we have we're fundraising heavy on the front end, because then that lets us just sort of dole things out as they are needed on the back end. But the flip side, obviously, is people, might be tapped out in the fall and not, necessarily give to PTO in order to help us fund things. So
right.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, like it depends heavily on people being involved from the get-go, and like when you have maybe this year was kind of an anomaly with just such a huge number of new families, but we're always going to have like turnover at the beginning of the year, and that hitting the ground running is just a little hard when people are still finding their bearings. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm the best person to know like what to move, but I like having some on the front end, but like I really missed not doing the plant sale. I thought that was a great opportunity. So I don't know, sorry.
That's fine, no, totally fine. Brianna, I saw your comment, the chance, I mean, absolutely, if we could host a plebiscite of some kind, that really would be the thing, right? But the challenge is getting to the community as a whole. And as you know, we've got 13 minus, because I'm in the room twice, devoted folks that are coming to these meetings. We're not quite hitting the 40 or so that we hit back when we offered people pizza. So what I'm thinking of is we're having this discussion so that we could sort of lean one way or the other and present it to our community on a whole, and then get a reaction, rather than make it an open discussion to all, 150 families, households. I don't know how many households we have in our school that make up the 400. But Diego, go ahead. You just unmuted. You're about to say something.
Yeah, I did unmute, and I think part of the conversation that I have heard or have been part of in these talks is that we have, like you said, we have the readathon, we have the book fair, spirit fair, like all, which are, asking a lot of our community to, put up a lot of money. And I think the big question of the conversation is we have a lot of these expensive things right off the bat, and then we go into the holiday season. And so is that, the conversations I've heard, is that too much for our families, and would, spreading it out throughout the year be better? And I think maybe that's another angle or another part of the conversation that I've heard. And I'm not saying that it's good this way or good that way. I'm just saying I think that's also been part of the conversation.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yes. So let's sort of tackle it from that angle. Go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead.
To piggyback on that, I will say, like, that's the reason that we couldn't order spirit wear when spirit wear came around, is, even though I helped to design the spirit wear, we did not have the funds to order the spirit wear. So just from the perspective of a parent who would like to give money to Bancroft, not even like a PTO time perspective, it would be significantly better if they were spread out from the perspective of like a family with limited funds every month.
No, that's a great insight, Michelle. So the readathon is where it's at because of conferences. So that's as I understand it, that's pretty cemented. That's an anchor because logistically it makes sense. So Spiritwear is where it's at because the timing of it makes sense in terms of when do you need a sweater? You need it in the wintertime. When would you wear the sweater? You would wear it over holiday break or whatever, right? But we could, I think if we were to move one of the big fundraisers, and clearly Spiritwear was not a big fundraiser this year, move that into spring. Brianna's now putting February as I Love to Read month. Are there conferences in February?
Yes.
Yeah, we've done conferences in February, and we've also done another book fair. I mean, we've done another book fair along that time as well.
Well, the book fair I remember, or maybe this was before me, but it was a free book fair. Was the one I remember in February. Is there another book sale, or is it the free one?
I remember having the not a free one, and maybe Sue remembers better than I do.
Yeah,
Or
that was
Brandon
probably before
does.
me then. Yeah. Okay. Ms. Sue, do you remember?
I don't, but I think it's like we always have donations of books and other things we can give away. And we like to do that.
Yeah, and that's the one I remember from 2019,
Yeah.
right before
Yep.
pandemic hit.
Yep.
We did the big distribution behind the stage. Yeah, that's the book.
Exactly. Yep.
Free book fair I remember. Okay, so here's this as another sort of point. What if we leave readathon where it is? Because that, again, I'm only on my third year. So, but that seems to be the bigger fundraiser of PTO. And we move the smaller one to a time post holidays when it's not such a big expenditure for folks. But that way, that kind of assures PTO has an income with which to dole out services and cover funds for that front end into the middle. And let's see, there was someone said contradicting in the chat and I missed it. Gotta find it. I can't find it. Can someone read that chat for me?
Oh, hi, that was me. I was just saying, while you were talking, I was typing, this is Melissa, that I like the idea of the readathon being later in the year. So you can kind of ramp up to it. Like I felt like, especially our first year was last fall in kindergarten. It was kind of like, wait, what's happening? And he was still learning his teacher and learning his classmates, and now we're tracking reading. I like the idea of it being later in the year to kind of maybe sell it a little lot, like ramp up to it longer, and maybe have a little more friendly competition or encouragement between kids who have a better relationship with each other later in the year.
Yeah, no, that's a fair statement. Anyone else have any want to discuss that part, that ramping up to it?
I would just say, I think that makes sense, Melissa, just the idea of if we're thinking about like new families or just getting started with the year and kind of getting your bearings through the year and the communication coming and learning to check your kids' folders again, which I am really bad at checking my kids' folders still, but kind of just like getting in the routine of school before that readathon hits. I mean, I think that's a valid point. I don't know.
No, that's great. So then if we were to move readathon to later in the year, I'm just thinking of this from a financial standpoint. It could be setting us up such that the previous year's PTO is doing the heavy lifting of fundraising for the incoming PTO. If it holds true that readathon is the heavier fundraise of PTO, right? So we bring in, but then we don't have really the time to expend through spring, but that's carried over for the next PTO to use as their funds for the fall, and then the cycle goes again. Is that, I see some nodding heads, Rachel, because your mic's still out. It's totally fine, totally fine. I was just trying to read body language and how you felt about the statement I just made.
Let's see. Now is
Oh,
it
there we
working?
go. Yeah.
Okay. Eleanor says hi too. I just said I appreciated Melissa's perspective, and the concern is that the readathon tends to bring in so much funds that's the concern about moving it. Sorry, just a clarifying question.
Yeah, no, I
Then you
think,
get to hear us eat our salad.
yeah, I don't think it was, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it's not that it brought in greater donations, that it was the concern. I think the concern is that we happen to have two donation opportunities. We had readathon and then followed right away by Spiritware. And so on the one side, the notion was leaving readathon where it was because it immediately engages the community and it's a larger fundraiser that helps fund the rest of the year, but moving Spiritware to later. And then obviously the other side is that moving readathon to later, either late winter or spring, with February, which would have implications on the way PTO budgets, but then that would allow us to leave Spiritware where it is over the holiday season. Now, frankly, it kind of still does the same thing. The time frame between winter break and February is about the same as October to December. So I don't really know if we're ameliorating the situation necessarily. All we're really doing is redistributing the holidays. But I mean, this is all great. So it looks like we do have two sides here. What direction should we take? And we're not going to put this to vote today. We'll talk about it more. I just want to have this open. Nicole really should be part of this conversation because she has a lot of institutional knowledge as having been with PTO for so long.
Is this visually laid out anywhere? Like, do you have it? It might be really, I'm a visual person. So like right now I'm trying to like create my visual timeline of like, well, if we did the mom sale if we would still move forward with that. And then when would we push Spiritware to? And then kind of just like what the big fundraisers were and whatnot. And then he's just going to create it for me right now. Yeah, that's all. I think it's helpful to see kind of visually where things could move and the spacing in them.
So I think I did a 1/3, 2/3 break here, right? So we have, oh, this is not.
So as long as we got a little bit of a pause here, if I can
Go for it.
interject, as near as I understand it, traditionally speaking, or going back, I don't think Spiritware has really been so much of a fundraiser as it has just been an opportunity for people to buy something to, for kids to wear to, show their spirit. I mean, I think we've in the past we've lost money and we've broken even, or we bought extra things that we've then given away as prizes for other things or whatnot. But I don't think it has been treated, and maybe I don't know if there's anybody from staff who remembers. You might not have the institutional knowledge of it, but I always thought it was just a matter of giving people an opportunity just to show spirit in the school and whatnot, and get some cool stuff, and not so much of a Bancroft PTO fundraiser. And then just to dovetail with that, certainly if people want to do the fall mom sale and keep that going, that's great. But I think the challenge that we found this year, and I think that there'll be a challenge going forward, is when you're doing something like that and you have incoming parents, it's just already very hectic, and it has to happen right around the time of the start of school because their suppliers just don't wait that much longer to get out these plants to people. So you're really looking at, I think we only had a week or two to go from, like, hey, there's a plant sale, to get your orders in, collect the money and everything, and then pick them up. It all happened really fast. And so I think it was really tough to get the word out to people that being so close to the start of school. So like I said, if people want to continue to do that, that's great. I'm fine. I think it's just really hard to do that, and it didn't raise a ton of money. So I think if we focused on doing one main fundraiser in the fall and then one main fundraiser in the spring, I think would be great. I like the readathon being in the fall because it kind of gets people into the academic thing, right? It's about push for reading, and literacy and reading is a big factors big into the pedagogy of Bancroft, and so I just think that that's important thing to focus on. It gets students motivated to get into the move of school again, and then of course in the fall or in the spring, it's almost near the end of school, but the plant sale is pretty big, and that has traditionally been the main fundraiser for the year. This last year for Readathon was kind of anomalous. I think we raised about $10,000 this year, and years past we've raised $3,000 to $5,000 most year over year. So that's a great thing. It's great that we did well. I hope we continue that. It shows people want to really support that, and I think it's great. But I think if we give one big fundraiser in either end or in either half of the school year, that would be, I guess, my personal choice, and I would argue for that.
Great. Yep. No, thank you. So here's a timeline, and greens are fundraisers, although as Justin Cesar mentioned, Spiritwear is not really a fundraiser in the main way. Reds are kind of anchor events, or at least the way that the events have sort of unfolded in my time on PTO. I imagine it was a little different beforehand. We have, as a PTO, we have the opportunity for those cultural family exchanges in classrooms, which is, I'm sort of hopeful that it turns into something that can become institutional. And then it's just the run-of-the-mill teacher requests, which we haven't really been experiencing in the way that we did or had. Go ahead, Brianna, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. And then my dog started barking. I feel like my house is super
All good.
chaotic. I apologize,
dogs.
everybody. If you hear screams or whatever. Anyways, what it sounds like in some ways is that Spiritwear, like we could, and it's hard to have this conversation without Nicole here. So maybe we should try to find when, a time when Nicole is available, but maybe it's more about how can we spread out the Spiritwear, or how can we look at Spiritwear differently? So it's not just a one time in the year order, whether it's like PTO supplying inventory and then, I don't know, the community being able to purchase them, or we do it like right away when school starts and then do another order, say in January. So there's a couple different options, because that seems like the most flexible one. Yeah. Where I totally understand Justin's piece of like the larger ones being on like the bookends more or less too. So.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask a question of Peter? I have a memory of looking at Northrop's site, and maybe it was Falwell. I'm trying to remember now, but the Northrop have like a year-round Spiritwear store. Sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna second what Brianna said. I mean, yeah, because at Northrop, I think maybe the PTO just purchased, like a supply of stuff, and then you could just buy it anytime during the year. So there wasn't that pressure to only be able to, depending on what your situation is, that there was only one time to get it, but you could get it whenever, which I think was helpful in that way. And then I know also, at Northrop, they did this thing one year that we were there, that I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a no stuff fundraiser, which was essentially sort of like, a build up to have people donate funds, but you didn't get anything. I'm not going to say you didn't get anything for it, but it wasn't tied to plants and they also did that at Northrop as well, but there was something nice about sometimes, I think, it's just nice to be able to, like, if you can donate money to the PTO, but not have to think about what thing you need or you're gonna add to your already very crowded house. So
Yeah, no,
put that out there too.
yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for that. I do want to make, oh, sorry, who was that?
Oh, that was me, Mandy.
Oh,
Sorry, I just wanted to interject right after Peter.
go for it.
I was thinking, like we could tie something into like give to the max day. I don't know. I feel like that's a stressful day for everyone because everyone's asking you to give money to like everything you've ever been interested in. But it's possible that would be like a natural. I can't even remember when that falls now, but it could be.
It's
like
November.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
But it's leading up to the holidays, which can be tough.
Yeah.
But it could be like something that like we don't push super hard, but it's just another opportunity.
Well, let's look at it. Because of time, let's table the conversation and we'll carry it forward. But let's look at the idea of spreading out spiritware over the course of the year, since it's not a fundraiser per se. I mean, clearly has a potential of being, but it historically has not been. And really, if the goal is to just give folks an opportunity to get spiritware so that, when it's appropriate for them, when it's convenient, then great. And so maybe it's something to look at. And Justin, maybe you, me and Nicole at some point could sort of just unpack that as a thing. Peter, I'm going to take a look at Northrop's site again and figure out because I feel like it's a digital store. So if Northrop's carrying inventory, I'm not sure how distribution occurs, but that's certainly a logistical thing that can be easily ironed out. So we'll look at that. I think that's kind of where, for spiritware, that's where folks are sort of headed. We're acknowledging it's not a fundraiser. We're acknowledging it's really about opportunity to purchase. And now the bigger discussion is, does readathon belong where it does? And the notion of bookending, as Justin has sort of described it, which is a way better way of describing it than I did. Thank you, Justin. Or the notion of pushing it, readathon, to a time when families are a little more able to engage. Okay, let's close out that discussion, and I am not going to even bother saving my whiteboard. Justin, floor is yours. We're going to go right into plant sale. This is the first discussion about it. Justin's got some stuff. Go ahead, Justin.
Sorry, can I just pull out what Mandy put in the chat? I don't know, V-Paul, if you are following that, but she wanted to make a pitch for the lawn signs to be available.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes. So the challenge, and actually, I'm not going to, my challenge is having no in-person. We don't really have access to our closet in the way that we did the pre-pandemic. And so the idea of we're at a family event, here's a lawn sign, right? And I think one of the things that I certainly have been negligent about handling is there have been families that have contacted us wanting to just straight up donate, and we really don't have a system for that. And then B, how do we handle the inventory that we have in the closet, the toques, the t-shirts, the lawn signs? And so that certainly is something that we need to tackle. But without in-person events, I am at a loss. But I would certainly open the floor to other people who have other ideas about how to make the distribution point. What I really want to avoid, what I don't want happening, is where we become Craigslist. Why don't we meet Friday at 3? Bring your check, I'll bring a lawn sign. I'm kind of hoping to avoid that kind of situation. But yes, Mandy, for sure. And we got a ton. I mean, oh my gosh, I got photos of what's in the closet. So we do need to figure that. So we're not hurting for inventory. And I guess that's the other problem with carrying inventory is you still got to get rid of it somehow. You still need a system of distribution.
Yeah, I think maybe just even like doing lawn signs when you do spiritware, if like, and whether we have an on-demand store or, a couple of bulk orders. I don't know, like, if we have to order in bulk to get a decent price and make it worth it. But,
for spiritware, yeah, that's part of the issue is hitting a threshold.
So, yeah, I don't know, but maybe we could do it. Yeah, it's hard to say whether we want to have like a whole bunch of inventory on hand and let people do it on a rolling basis, or just do maybe like a couple bulk orders a year. So I don't know. All right, I'll stop talking about it.
No, this is great. This is absolutely great. We're going to revisit this next month. Don't worry. February is going to be such an exciting meeting. Okay. So Justin, floor is yours. Spring plant sale.
Great, more of me talking. Okay. So plant sale is going to be on Friday, the 6th of, what is that, May? Yes, 6th of May and the 7th of May. So that is basically the Friday and the Saturday before Mother's Day weekend. So plants will be coming on May 5th. And what we have to decide here is what time we want those to arrive, because it's a pretty major operation. The trucks come and they're full of like hundreds of plants. We've got to offload the plants and put them somewhere, either set up at the time or at least get the plants somewhere where they're off the trucks and off there. They basically have these big metal carts that they come on, and you take the flats off and you got to throw everything somewhere. So that's a pretty hectic and huge operation. We need a lot of volunteers for that. It's also fairly disruptive for the school. In past, we've done it. The plants usually come like early in the morning, even before school starts, and we start unloading stuff, and then we're basically setting up through the morning. Then there's like a staggered lunch in the lunchroom for the kids, and then starting after school is the first time people can start picking up plants. And then usually the second day is Saturday, and that goes from early morning till, sometime in the afternoon. And that's generally how it's worked out in the past. Of course, with COVID, things have been different. We haven't even had a plant sale for the last couple of years. And now Kimberly has been in touch with both Diego and Brianna about what we can do, what are our options going forward for this year, particularly since we're not really sure. We're optimistic, but we wanted to have at least several different plans in place. So if plan A doesn't work out, we have a B and a C. So from what I understand, plan A right now is that we're going to go ahead with it being, bye Sue, we're going to go ahead with it being in person. So we're going to have to probably figure out a way where times are staggered, where people are assigned a time or a block of time when they can come in and pick up plants. But we'll have it set up that people come in. There can be so many people come in the building at a time and pick up their plants, and it'll be organized. So they'll kind of have a set path or a course that they'll wind their way through, picking up plants as they go. And then, so they'll come in, they'll check in, we'll confirm the order and what they have and what they're picking up, and they go through. There'll be a little check at the end, make sure they got everything there, and then they'll, exit and through a different door or something like that. And this is all just to minimize exposure and whatnot. But as far as we know, or as far as we're planning on for plan A, that's what we're going to do. Kimberly has also been doing a lot of back and forth with the different vendors. What we finally ironed out is that we have in the past gone with 2 different vendors that have provided different items to us, but we've been able to merge that or get that down to one provider now that we really like, that is very flexible and works with us and has really just done a tremendous job at accommodating the different needs that we've had. So what we've come up with is a place that has everything we need, and also a new thing this year is it can be online as well. So I think for equity's sake, we'll still have flyers that go home with students or order forms that go home. So people that don't have access to, say, a computer or internet or can't, or a credit card even, don't have the opportunity to order online, can do so through a paper order, and then we'll process that and get the order out. So hopefully, we're hoping people will take advantage of the online ordering. I think that'll simplify things, and it'll certainly simplify the processing, the huge amount of paperwork and counting and handling of money and all that normally occurs in between the time we start passing out the order forms and start receiving the money and then handing out the plans. So I think it'll be a more streamlined thing this year as well, which will help simplify. And that's a good thing too. So we're going with Paul's Markets in St. Paul as our 2022 plant supplier. Yep, credit card will be online, and it'll be check or cash with the paper forms, and those will go home, and there's carbon copies in every student's backpack. The final plant list has yet to be finalized, but it'll be basically based on previous year's popular items and current year plant availability. So we'll have those hopefully by next meeting. We'll have the list of what we can order, and then we'll have like a short list of the main things we've had in past years, and we can add to that if we want or whatever. But basically, for the sake of simplicity, we don't want too many orders. They offer hundreds of items to order, but it just becomes unmanageable at that point. So keeping it in the neighborhood of say 40 to 50 different items at the most would be, and I would say maybe even 30 to 40 items is just best. It's just easier to manage that way. But we should have that by February meeting to talk about that in a little more detail. Delivery and setup, we can't do Friday. That slot is not open, no longer available to us. So Thursday is the only time we can have the plants delivered to us, and we have 2 time slots that we can choose from. So we should try to finalize that tonight, because that has to be locked into before somebody else grabs those spots. So we have 2 p.m. on Thursday, which means that the orders would arrive before school lets out. And then there's 5 p.m., which is obviously after students and parents mostly gone home. And, we'd have to have people helping get the plants sorted, around dinner time. And, maybe we can talk about having pizza or something on hand, or even childcare. I know we've done that in the past for PTO meetings. So maybe we can do something like that too, just to sort of give volunteers a little bit more manageable options there. So, yep, 2 p.m., accept the plants and begin setup on the tables. And then we'll have to, after all the plants are basically set up or at least put into a particular area, we'll have to rope it off so that, they can continue to have lunch on Friday. 5 p.m. delivery, basically roughly the same thing. We can have the tables maybe set up a little bit earlier. But the 5 p.m. delivery, plants would be put on tables. How late are we allowed to stay in the school? So that's another one for Diego or Brianna. And that would about cover it. So yeah, main decision we should make here tonight is whether or not we should do a 2 p.m. or a 5 p.m. pickup time, or drop-off time, or arrangement time for the flowers.
Thank you, Justin. I imagine there's a lot of these logistical questions are going to be driven by whatever Diego and Brianna sort of have to say with what's available facilities wise. Regarding PTO hands to lift. So obviously a small little army of folks for the setup, tear down, distribution. Do you need more people for the management of the orders, or is that entirely you and Kimberly? Do we need, my last memory before it got canceled was we had this little committee. And so do we need another little committee for that portion of it at the very least?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. I mean, it definitely helps. I mean, when we do the paper forms, we have to peel labels and stick them in envelopes and sort everything out by grades and whatnot. So that takes a couple of people, because there's, several hundred forms that we have to sort out and do. But it goes pretty fast with that only takes a handful of people. Then, when we have it's really the day of plant sale that's the main thing. Processing orders, like I said, hopefully people will take advantage of the online, which is all internally done with their systems, and then we can just print that out. So that's super convenient for us. So obviously we want to urge people to do that. But if they are doing paper, we process that all by hand. And those orders, it is time consuming, because you got to count them, handle the money, count the money, make sure they confirm with the orders, and then, manually input the orders in as well. And then PTO would basically create an order for each paper form. Online, we would just do the ordering and use the card, basically our bank card, to pay for those. And then, people would have to prepay with check or cash. So that's basically how that system would work. So the main labor intensive parts are the getting the plants the day of delivery and sorting them out, and then managing like slightly less people needed probably for the managing of the actual sale itself. So I would say, I think in years past, and I don't know, again, I'll leave this to Diego maybe to sort out based on what MPS is saying at the time. We might have to limit the amount of even adults we have that are, you know, in the building running around with a bunch of plants, right? But I think in years past, we've had as many as 12 people for that aspect. And that's about what it takes. Because we're talking about, again, hundreds of plants that we have to get in certain places in a short amount of time. So
Yeah, no, thank you. Before I throw to Diego and Brianna, because I know you've got quite a paragraph to unpack here. I do want to put it out to the group right now, a call for volunteers for on the front end of this, so the plant sale committee to help administer with Justin and Kimberly. Anyone on the group, I'm just putting a call out right now. We will do a much bigger, much more vigorous call for volunteers for the distribution point, but I know that we've got a little bit of time. I'm planting the idea in your heads. Throw it in chat. It would make me happy. Okay, Diego and Brianna, what are your comments back to what's possible?
If anybody's a Kevin Garnett fan, when he won the title with the Celtics, he said anything is possible. So I think that's kind of where we're at. But no, in all seriousness, I think the bulk of the unloading of the trucks, I think, is a really huge undertaking. And especially because we don't want it to disrupt our school day as much. And so in years past, we've ordered tables from our distribution center, set a whole bunch of tables up in the art and music hallway and some along the gym, you know, under the grand stair. And that's where we kind of staged all the plants to begin with. And it's a significant number of plants, a significant number of tables. And so that took a lot of people effort to get the trucks unloaded and those placed there. And all the plants, you know, there's like table A where all the marigolds are, table AA where all these plants are, table B where all the peppers go. And so it's really organizing all the things. And so people can pick them up really quickly and easily. And then I think the second step would be then to have the support of, you know, volunteers to then set up the cafeteria once kids are gone for the Friday pickup. And so I think it's kind of that two wave of the upfront work, in my opinion. And my opinion, I shared this with Kimberly, is to have the 5 p.m. Delivery, especially on that Thursday evening. I like the idea of maybe having some pizza. We can, you know, again, all depending on Omicron and COVID, we could have pizza available for any volunteers and their kids. We could open up the gym. We, you know, obviously we'd still have to put in a permit. I approve the permit, so I would probably approve it. And so then we would be able to stay in the building until 8 p.m. That's usually when our last engineer leaves. They leave at 9, but they need to, you know, finish all the things and make sure the building is clean before they leave for the evening. And so I think those would be the two big pieces, is unloading the trucks with all the planters and all the plants, organizing them, and then getting that second wave Friday afternoon. We could start setting up, you know, right after, a little bit after lunches, because we still have to have our dismissal in there. It's a Friday, so we don't have after school happening. Our parent pickup kids, we use the first like 4 tables on both sides. So we could start just moving out, you know, by 3:30 and getting everything kind of started to be set up that Friday. Have parents come in waves, and then have Saturday families coming in waves also, you know, maybe an A through F or an F through N, I don't know, just something like that, is throwing out some thoughts.
Okay, so it obviously sounds like from a facilities management point of view, this is still doable pending any Omicron or post pi. I'm waiting for COVID pi, frankly, because isn't that the next letter in the alphabet for them? But anyway, yeah. So
I would say at this point, yes. I like Brianna and I met with Kimberly and we said, yep, at this point, let's make it work. You know, we have parents come in to drop off kids. Everyone has to follow the masking things. I'm sure that's not going away anytime soon. It'll probably still be with us in May. And so just as long as people are following the thing and we're not gathering for significant amounts of time, you know, we're allowing parents right now to come in and drop kids off as long as they're masked and all those pieces. So,
yeah. Great. So just to get this one piece of business out of the way that Justin really needs, I'm going to just put up a vote. 2 p.m., 5 p.m., throw it in the chat, a 2 or a 5. That will tell us what we go with. But clearly Diego and Brianna have mentioned to Kimberly 5 is the more desirable one for the sake of logistics. But let's just get PTO to sort of make a choice here so that Justin can make a move.
I don't want to sway the vote, but I vote for 5 because then we can help and we don't have to stop in the middle of it and do parent pickup, and all the kids and families are wondering what's going on. And we have the trucks that are in the loading dock, and we have the parents that are going down 14th Avenue. So anyways, that's that's my 2 cents. And hopefully it carries a lot of weight.
You know how chaotic it is. You've seen a few plant sales.
Yeah, plant sale is, for those that have not been in the back, have participated in it. It is pretty chaotic to get started and to get it all set up. So
yeah.
I'm hoping I don't have to do that and also dismiss 400 kids.
Yeah. Well, looks like 5 carried. So let's just call it. There you go, Justin. We got a great group of folks, pretty much everyone on the call except me. So thank you for volunteering to the plant sale committee. Justin, I'm sure I saw you scribbling furiously, so you probably took those names down. Next action items can hold till February. Do we need to decide anything right now, Justin?
Sorry, is that, no, I have nothing else for plant sale.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to decide anything more right now.
Nope.
We're now in development phase.
That's it. And other than if people want to, I'll try to contact the folks that have, I've wrote down some names here. I'll try to contact people who have got Mandy, Kate, and Rachel. I'm going to include you in here since it sounds like you want to make sure you get your plants. So we'll make sure you're a volunteer then, if that's okay. Yeah, I think this is a good start. And then maybe if we do something like, I like the idea that you brought up of having sort of maybe like a committee almost thing of plant sale. And it doesn't have to be a formal thing. It's more just like people who want to, be in an email loop or something like that. And thanks everybody for your emails here. I'm going to copy those down. So really, yeah, this is the only imperative thing we had to do tonight.
Great, thank you. Moving on for time, school choice. And then this is gonna go right into you, Diego, but I have a finished video that I can show. Diego, I think I got your stamp, your prima imprimatur on it. So let me do that. And then we are going to talk about play date and whatever else we can do to be helpful.
If you live between the east-west boundaries of Cedar and Chicago Avenues, south of Lake Street but north of 42nd Street, we hope you'll be a Bancroft Elementary School family. Recently designated a community school, Bancroft offers the educational programming, student opportunities, and professional resources of the magnet school we once were. Our educators use the widely acclaimed International Baccalaureate program to help our kindergarten through grade 5 students learn to be active learners, well-rounded individuals, and engaged global citizens. Who we are, how we express ourselves, how the world works, these are some of the lenses through which our students explore maths, reading, sciences, and social sciences. Our student body mirrors the world around us, substantially representing African American, Hispanic, Somali, and white families, as well as Asian and Native American families. All students take weekly Spanish language lessons, and families are encouraged to bring their cultural backgrounds into the classroom via volunteer opportunities to showcase our strength in diversity. Bancroft teaching specialists include physical education in our renovated gym, visual arts, media sciences in our library and computer labs, music for all, and the band for our 5th graders. From the time they grab daily morning breakfast in our renovated cafeteria that supports safe social distancing, through lunch prepared by our professional staff in our on-site kitchen, and even while they're out on the playground, we're here to support our students academically, socially, emotionally, and mentally. At Bancroft Elementary School, we believe every student can learn, that family involvement is critically important, and that shared decision-making and collaboration improve the educational process. We believe high expectations increase individual student achievement, and we believe students learn best when they have opportunities for inquiry-based learning. We look forward to having you join our community.
All right, so I forgot to preamble this. We didn't get enough of the parent testimonials to build. So I had to build off of more of a narrative style, voiceover style.
So
Yeah,
thank you, V Paul, for putting that together. I love it. I think the voiceover is great, and I think it does capture a lot of what we try to do each day, and that will be shared tomorrow at our open house.
Great, good. Anyone, I mean, I'm not really fishing for compliments, but I am wanting approval. Mostly for the sake of, to say I did, to say I got PTO approval. That came out wrong. I'm glad I recorded that. Anyway, but I'm glad it's useful. Do we have any comments regarding it? A. B, we want to move on to play dates to help out between the open houses, and the weather is giving us conniptions here. But it's Saturday is what we're going for. Oh, great, Mandy, good comment, yeah. Tana and Joanne are the chairs for the play dates. Tana is not available on Saturday. I'm wondering if anyone would be able to volunteer from this group to help out with Joanna and me. And what Tana's role was pivotal because she was the source of the hot chocolate. And we need more of that based off of last one. But so there's that move. And then on top of that, Diego and Brianna have the rest of school choice with your open houses and postcards. So any comments regarding the video? That's my first question.
The only thing I thought the video was, sorry, light's really weird in this room. I thought the video was absolutely fantastic. So I thought it was really wonderful. The only thing I'm wondering is, I know a handful of really COVID cautious parents who want to be Bancroft families, but hi Mira, who want to be Bancroft families but aren't. And should we, I know there was a couple kids in the video who are kind of pulling their masks down. Is that something that's gonna freak out those families, or do we need to, I know that's a reality of kids and masks.
Yeah, no, that's a fair statement. I'll certainly take a look to see if something could be swapped, but it is the reality of the space. But I really don't want to be unsympathetic to the notion. So that's thank you for that input and feedback.
I mean, again, it's something that's just I know a couple of prospective Bancroft families who are super freaked about COVID, and I don't want that to be the thing that where they're like, oh my gosh, no, we have to homeschool again for another year, because
Yeah,
we don't want them to come to Bancroft.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Anything else? And then play dates, helpfulness. It certainly, it's not 100% at this point, only because weather, but.
What time?
What time's play date? Oh, we are setting it for 1 to 3, like the last one. An afternoon where it's going to be the warmest part of the day.
I'm sorry, what day? I'm sorry, we're in the middle
Saturday is what we're earmarking. So
this Saturday?
Yeah, because it falls between the two open houses. So virtual open house tomorrow, play date. I'm going to sort of push it at the open house tomorrow, and then maybe play date, and then sell the next open house. So. I'm trying to keep up with chat. Sorry. Okay. Moving on then. Diego, Brianna, school choice, open house, and then it goes right into Diego's update. What more do you need from us? How can we be helpful?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. No, so yeah, so maybe I'll just start with school choice, or should I start with the e-learning day, or should I start with COVID, or should I start with all the things that are happening around here?
The Capricorn in me wants you to round out school choice. That's the Capricorn in me.
All right. Well, I'm a Libra, so I'm trying to balance it all and trying to make it all work. So let's see. School choice. So school choice is due February 7th. Right now is the time where families and caregivers should be gathering all the information they need to make the best choice for their kiddos' schooling. We do have an open house, a virtual open house that is scheduled for tomorrow evening from 5 to 6. We are mainly targeting incoming high five and kindergarten families. We're not going through any big tumultuous changes as we did last year at this time. And so I feel like we're not targeting, mostly first through fifth graders. It's mostly our incoming families. So we have our first event tomorrow evening. And then we have another one next Tuesday, January 18th at the same time from 5 to 6 in the evening. PTO, Michelle, thank you for putting together a welcome postcard or a informational postcard. Hopefully families received those. Those were sent out last week. And it just had some information about Bancroft. It had information about our open houses and directed people to our webpage for more information. And so my hope is that got into the hands of all of the high five and kindergarten age students, families that live within our attendance zone. It is the open houses are, it's posted on our webpage. It's posted on some district thing as well. And so whoever is interested in learning more about Bancroft is definitely welcome. But like I did say, we targeted the incoming kinders and high fivers that live in our attendance zone. And so I have a list of all the kids who'll be age 5 by September. And so their families received a postcard. I did go to the play date. I felt my kids didn't even want to come. I don't know why, but so I wasn't going to force them, but I went by myself to the last PTO play date. I did not get any hot chocolate, unfortunately, but it was definitely well attended. It was fun to see a lot of the kids playing and enjoying themselves. So I also thank PTO for getting that together. It was just fun. Again, our playground gets used all the time. And so it was just fun to see people enjoying themselves there. A couple just logistical pieces that I did share at Site Council in December as far as registration and out of area and all these pieces. High five. If you are enrolled at Bancroft currently, so all of your families right now, you do not have to do a school request. You're automatically enrolled in Bancroft for next school year. And that is also true for any families who were placed from out of our attendance zone. And just for a reminder, our attendance zone is Cedar Avenue, Chicago Avenue, Lake Street, and 42nd Street. And so if you live within that boundary, you're considered, where your community school. If you live outside of that and you attend Bancroft currently, you get to stay at Bancroft until you matriculate out of 5th grade. Then the next time you will have to choose a school would be when you go to middle school, because then you would be placed at your community pathway middle school. Our community pathway middle school is Anderson, and then our kids would matriculate out to South High School, which is different from the past year. But that's the only time if you're an out of area kiddo or family, you would have to do the school request again. Something that has changed for this year, and it was changed after I guess misspoke at Site Council. If you are a high five family and your community school is Bancroft and you currently go to high five at Bancroft, you also don't have to do Bancroft in school request. You are automatically placed at Bancroft. So that's a change from previous years in high five. Because we've always been a magnet school. And so kids that came to our high five had to also request Bancroft. And that is a change. And so community school kiddos that go to our high five automatically are enrolled at Bancroft. And we welcome you also. I know maybe there's 1 or 2 families on here that are in high five. We welcome you to our open houses too, because it's a lot about kindergarten. It's a lot about our school too. And maybe you could learn a little bit more about what we have to offer. And so that's kind of the gist of the school request timeline. So again, the due date for the first lottery is, I think, February 7th. Not I think, it is February 7th. Families should be notified about their placements, I think in late spring, probably late April. And then we'll probably be hosting another welcome event in the springtime for our new families and new students that were officially placed at Bancroft.
Rachel asked a question if we have to do a request for 5th graders or are they automatically enrolled in Anderson? And so, but she's only asking for a friend. So anybody who is on track to go to just their on track school. So for students who are at Bancroft who are going to Anderson, they're automatically placed at Anderson. If you were trying to enroll, say, like in Sanford or Justice Page, then you would do like the out of area request. Was that correct?
Yep. Yeah, that is correct. And then we also, the Anderson, a team from Anderson is also coming out to talk to our fifth graders to share some information about their school coming up here shortly in the next week and a half. And so that'll be good too. They do a lot of lock practicing so they can open their lockers and things like that. I know it's always a big stressor for our fifth graders. And so they do, in years past, the kids from Sanford have come, and it's been a lot of old Bancroft students. So that's fun to see them. So hopefully they'll do the same with any of our former Bancroft students that are now at Anderson. They'll hopefully send them and have a talk with our fifth graders and share their experiences. So that's always a fun thing too for our older kids. I think that's all I think I have right now for school choice. If there's any other questions or wonderings, I can take some of those questions at this time.
I think we won't take the question. I just wanted to air it out for the sake of the recording that there is discussion about whether or not we were going to be able to increase our out of area enrollment, given that we have capacity. And there were other parents that are sort of talking about this, and it's a discussion outside of PTO, but it might probably make it to PTO here in February. But I don't have any questions because those families aren't even in this meeting right now.
So I would say if you want to request Bancroft and you do not live in our area and you currently don't go to Bancroft, there's no, what's the word? You can just request it. There's no harm in doing that. And so I don't know what the chances are. I think they keep reiterating that they want families to attend their community school or to choose one of the magnet offerings. But like I said, I don't think there's any harm in putting down, if you were a former Bancroft family and you were moved to Falwell or Dowling, no offense to those schools, or you decided to go to Marcy and you didn't, it didn't work out for you at Marcy. I think always putting Bancroft as your choice is worth a shot.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I've been talking to I live out of area, and I've been talking to a few families who are also out of area. So that's good to know.
Yeah. And I know, I'm not going to say what the chances are, because I think I tried to do that last spring and, we didn't get as many as I thought we would. And that's just the way it is. But, I think, they are working on getting some folks into out of area schools, but their preference is to have people attend their community school or a magnet offering.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
What can we do to help apart from just talking about Bancroft? And
I think Brianna has a lot to share around that.
Oh my gosh, I was actually trying to unmute and then I couldn't. Thanks, Mr. DePaz. I would say, I think what you're doing is great. I hear people talking about Bancroft. I see it on the neighborhood websites. And I think just continuing the word of mouth, it's been fun to see. I think Melissa posted it in the chat too. I'm on the Central Buy Nothing group. And so I see like the conversations around schools, and it was really heartwarming to see so many families being very positive about Bancroft. And so I think continuing that word of mouth and then also being honest, like I'm not asking you to, lie and say that it's so great if you don't feel that way. But it's been really nice to see those comments. And I think the play dates are great. I don't know. That's what I have.
Can we share the video?
Anything else, Mr. Paz? Sorry, go ahead.
The video that was made, once it's finalized, will we be able to share that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's final. I'll put out, it's going to go into my update for this meeting. It's certainly going to go into whatever Diego and Brianna do for their communications. So the link is going to be out there pretty much as soon as this meeting is done. But yes, thank you. All right, Diego.
I would just add to Michelle's comment, encourage people to schedule a tour, encourage people to check out our webpage, just learn more about Bancroft. Kathy Todd does an amazing job during the tours. And so, as I think I said at our site council meeting too, like a lot of people drive down 38th and they see like the front of this 1912 building. And I think they miss out what's going on, with the addition that happened in the back of the building and the playground and the giant cafeteria and just the open welcoming environment I think that we have in our building. And so I think that's something to encourage people to come in and check it out. So yeah, e-learning I think was another big topic today. I'm hoping that everyone and their students were able to get online. And hopefully we shared enough information from the school perspective to get people where they needed to be during when they needed to be there. I do want to just reiterate that e-learning is, taking the place of a snow day that we've had in the past. And it is a little bit different than like distance learning. And so there is not necessarily the expectation that there will be live classes and small group meetings, like we were accustomed to during the distance learning time when we were not in person. And so we are, hopefully you got the notice that we are back in person tomorrow. Today I think was a decision for right now. And I know that they're constantly at the district level evaluating where we're at, evaluating the COVID cases, how many staff are out, how many students are out, can we get reserves? Can we get buses to pick students up? And so I think just personally, I would just be ready to be flexible again and just kind of roll with the things. I don't have any additional information of any timelines or dates or things about going into distance learning or e-learning. But hopefully today went as smooth as it could for our first e-learning day. I would prefer to be in person with our kiddos if we can do that, safely. Can you share the? Oh yeah.
I was just going to ask if you could see the chat.
Yeah. We have COVID. Students have COVID. Staff have tested positive for COVID at Bancroft. And so I think we're not, we are making it work right now. We made it work last week where we had some staff members out. We're averaging about 100 students out per day, which is up from our like typical attendance. So we're at about 25% of our student body being out each day. And so we're posting things online on the Seesaw activities. We're getting subs from the district level. Tomorrow we do have a lot of subs coming in. So that's good that they're picking up jobs. But we're not exempt from Omicron and its effects and its impact on the teaching and learning that's happening in our building. Brianna, do you have anything you want to add to that or?
No, I mean, I think just going back to, we're not exempt from it. I think I'll just say that I think the week was hard. The week was hard for us trying to figure out staffing and covering it. And so, teachers are giving up their prep time so they could cover during a class during another time. And so we really, we did the best we could and we did make it through it. But I guess I'd just like to say that, it was hard and we're hoping that this week goes a little smoother. Super exciting to see as many subs picked up for tomorrow as have picked up. So that feels really good going into tomorrow.
Yeah, and I guess on the COVID front also, I want to make, I appreciate families. I don't want to be a vaccine pusher, but I appreciate families taking that extra step of precaution to get their students vaccinated. It does support in instances where we have a COVID case in classrooms because students who are fully vaccinated, meaning again, the 2 doses and then 2 weeks out from their second dose, obviously have to monitor for symptoms if they're a close contact, but also then do not have to quarantine from school. And so I think that helps students stay in the classroom. We had a positive case in second grade, and there was a number of kiddos that were vaccinated that are able to stay in school and monitor for symptoms because they are vaccinated. So I just appreciate that within our community, taking that extra step of precaution. And I do know that, it is serious and we do take every instance seriously and try to get that information out to families so they can make the best decision for themselves and for their children. So I appreciate you, rolling with us too. And putting that trust in what we're doing at our school.
I'll just quick add to that. We do still have some rapid test kits in our main office and at school for any family who feels that they need to test. And so you could either call the office and we can put one aside for you and someone can come in and pick it up, or however you like to do that. But we do have just the Biomax that has, 2 tests in a kit. So those are available for families.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to, in addition, well, because of the e-learning day, just to ensure, well, we're going to work with our teachers too, just to reiterate that students should be bringing their devices home every single day. We had no idea, again, I had no idea this was going to happen until Sunday afternoon, that we were going to move to e-learning. And so it can happen at any time. And so I want to make sure that, families know that their devices should be going home each day and coming back to school each day. And then we'll reiterate that to our staff to make sure kids know how to log in to their Clever pages and Seesaw and find the links for meetings, because we will most likely be participating in one of these again at some point. So I just want to make sure we are all reiterating that fact. Another thing too that we did decide at Site Council was to move forward with our family activity menus. And so hopefully you read a little bit about that in the newsletter that went home last week, as well as you saw the family activity menu that came home. And so for the Bancroft families that have been here in the past, it was kind of an approach to homework that we did at Bancroft without giving traditional homework. And so it was a way to involve the whole family in school and to see what was happening and to participate in, a bunch of different activities with their children that they could do with multiple aged kids. And so there are grade level specific activities at the top, on the top row of each one. And then there's family activities that every person can do in the rest of the activity menu. And I did send a link with my communication yesterday to families. So that was another piece that you could access today, or just to remember to work on with your students. And it does not have to be turned in. It is not something that needs to be checked off by the teacher. It's just an activity and some fun things to do at home with your family. And we are going to get, I think it was V. Paul's quote that said, let's just release it into the wild and then collect feedback later. And so that's kind of what we're going to do for the first couple months here, is just see how it goes with families. And then get input and feedback on thoughts about the family activity menu, so we can adjust accordingly as the year goes on. Any questions or comments about that piece?
Yeah, regarding the feedback part, I'm interested in if PTO is able to pull off another virtual family involvement night. I don't imagine we're going to do an in-person one anytime soon. That might be a good place, a centralized place to try and get more feedback. I mean, if we can get the same turnout that we did from Turkey Bingo. So maybe we could sort of just tie that in. We are at this point anticipating that it's a late March event or April, right before break, right before the spring break. We try to kick off another family involvement night. So maybe that's something that would dovetail nicely with your timing, and we could discuss that. But I just wanted to raise that. And otherwise, yeah, we were excited for the thing at our house, so we're working our way through it.
Great. And then just a couple of calendar updates. Like I said, we have the virtual open houses coming up tomorrow and the 18th. Next Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so we do not have school on Monday. And then the 28th of January, which is a Friday, is also a no school day. We have record keeping. And so you'll be getting your students report cards coming home at that time. Let's see. And that's about it. I think another big thing we have going on right now is our winter assessments. And so we're trying to get through those. It is hard when students are either quarantined or missing school. So we're trying to get through our winter fast assessments. And then the other piece that we're doing in January, you may have heard about it in September, late September, is our essential agreement passports. And so it's our winter session. And so we're going to go through our essential agreements again for all of our common areas within our school. So your kids will be hearing about how to walk through the hallways and how to use the bathroom appropriately and what are the rules for essential agreements for our playground and cafeteria. And so it's a good, after big breaks, it's a good reminder for students. And so we'll be doing that coming up here in probably the third or fourth week of January.
Great.
Those are all my announcements for now.
Great. No, thank you. That was a full plate. Absolutely.
And it's 7:02.
Yep, it is. We're 2 over. I did want to just drop into the mix, Brianna, that equity staff group, if there was an update to that, and because Peter's here in person as well, I didn't want to lose momentum regarding the land acknowledgement and equity work.
Sure. We meet Wednesday. So we haven't met since the last PTO meeting. So we meet Wednesday. So once we have some updates about when we can get a meeting on the calendar, probably end of January or into the beginning of February to kind of kick things off, we'll let PTO know.
So, Peter, I'll make a better effort to connect with you here. And maybe then, Brianna, could we discuss with your group off cycle? Maybe get, could I come to one of those meetings at all or meet with you separately so that we have something queued up?
So we're meeting as an equity team, as the equity school team, and there's a small subgroup of us that's then like starting the parent piece. And so then we're going to push out all of the information to all the families and invite to that meeting, to our first meeting. And so that's where everything would kind of come from.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Absolutely. Cool.
Any new business to take care of at 3 after? Thank you very much for everyone's attention.
It's not new business, but I just wanted to, I just saw today that the board is going to be meeting on the calendar and voting on the calendar.
Tomorrow.
And there's 4, yeah. So if anybody has the energy or spoons to email the school board, one of the calendar options is actually really life-changing for kids and probably teachers too who are religious minorities. That's something that I have not seen in all of my years of being a religious minority in public schools in the Midwest. So I just want to draw people's attention, if anybody has the spoons to email board members about it, that would be kind of amazing if that one passed. For, just purely from my perspective.
Is that, I think that's, would you like to make a Facebook parents group post on that and we can help generate a little more specificity around that?
That's actually where I saw it, was the parents group post.
Our parents group or the Minneapolis parents group?
What's that?
Our parents group.
I'll post, yeah, I'll post thing on our parents group. Yeah, I like, there's like no heads up about this. I just saw it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, for like Jewish and Somali kids, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's very common in public schools in the Midwest. So it's pretty cool that they're considering it. Cool, I'll post it.
Thank you. Any other comments before we close out? Okay, well, I'll take that silence as thank you very much opportunity and appreciate all the discussion. February will be a good meeting. Tomorrow, I'm going to be at your open house. If other families want to give insight, especially those that are coming out of kindergarten, going into grade 1. I think that'd be good. Otherwise, stay safe, stay warm. We'll see you on the other side. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.